Alright, a few hours ago I posted my Chulane video where I explained why I'm abandoning him and gave some clues as to who the next elf commander I'm going to build will be. Well, here he is. Voya. Jaws of the Conclave. Yeah, I know anybody in the English-speaking audience might pronounce it Voja, but Ravnica takes place in something of Eastern Europe, and Slavic languages pronounce the J as a Y. So, for example, if you see a Slavic woman, Czech woman, Czech or Slovak, whose name is Jana, it's actually pronounced Jana, as is the male name Jan, spelled J-A-N. So the famous composer from the 80s, Jan Hammer, actually would be Jan Hammer, if we were to pronounce it correctly. So this comes mainly from, I have to thank Pleasant Kenobi for this. Pleasant Kenobi had a video where he's talking about commanders that are pushed, commanders that are too easy. And I agree with him. I agree that Voya, Jaws of the Conclave, is pushed. He is too easy, but I wanted a simple elf commander. I wanted somebody that fits the theme of the elf stack that I had painstakingly put together, that I had tried with Karrthus and failed. I was going to try with Chulane and aborted the attempt. So now I'm going to try it with Voya. So for 5, I get a 5/5 wolf. That's pretty good. 5 for 5/5, not bad. Vigilance, Trample Ward 3. That's even better. Whenever he attacks, I put X +1/+1 encounters on every creature I control, all of them, including himself, and just when he attacks, not when he connects and deals damage. X is the number of elves I control. And I get to draw a card for each wolf I control. Okay, so he tells me exactly how I should build my deck. Before, I didn't have a clear commander. Karrthus was just a decoy, just a trial. Chulane tells me exactly how to build the deck and enables it to be perfectly reliable, which, as I explained in that video, I realize this is not what I want. I don't want the perfect reliability. I want it to work. I want it to function more often than not, but I don't want it perfectly reliable. So here we go with Voya. This is the first Naya deck I've had in years. The last Naya deck I had was Male the Anima. And the reason I gave up on her is, so she's a 2/2 for 3, green, red, white. You spend 3 green, red, white, tap her. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Show off any creature with power 5 or greater and put it into play. And she gets killed a lot, because if you build the deck around her, if you build it hardcore, which I did, it kind of relies on her. It kind of needs her. And if she's not on the field, well, you're just back to casting, hard casting, you know, big creatures, 6 mana, 7 mana, 8 mana and up, in order to get your game plan going. And at the time I built her, around 2015, 2016, we didn't have all the tools we have today. So it was a slog if I didn't have her. So anyway, I'm going to try with Voya. Let's start with the mana base. So I imposed on myself 2 rules. 1, I would not break up or steal from, borrow from, any active decks. So any cards that are in an active deck, I would not take for Voya. I would also only use cards from my collection. I would not go buy any new cards for Voya. So I could build him as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible. Similar to what I did with Kenrith, the Return King, and hopefully with as good results. So we start with Brushland. So I've got a 5th edition Brushland. Canopy Vista, so Forest Plains. I do not have any of the, so I've got a lot of the green-white connecting lands and the green-red connecting lands. I do not have the red-white connecting lands because the deck is so green-heavy. So unless it produces the mana of all 3 colors, I do not have the red-white lands. So Cinder Glade, Mountain Forest, Command Tower, of course, High Market, As I said time and time again, it's mainly to prevent any of my creatures from being exiled permanently. I can just sacrifice it instead and then figure out how to get it out of the graveyard later. Jungle Shrine. I get to play my Jungle Shrine again. My foil beautiful Jungle Shrine. Bungle in the Jungle. 5th edition Karrthus Forest to go with the 5th edition Brushland. Kessig Wolf Run just to stay on theme. So Skarg the Rage Pits is better in some decks because you just spend green-white and tap it. So you're only tapping 3 lands. Target creature gets +1/+1 and trampled till end of turn with Skarg. With this, I have to spend X, or I can just spend green and red, tap it. For example, if I have Voya in play, so I can spend green, red, and tap it, and he would at least have trample. He wouldn't get any bigger, but he would at least have trample. So I have that line of play in my mind. Corrosive Verge comes into play tap. 2, sack it, go find a Temple Garden and a Canopy Vista. Something like that. Mutavault. Okay, so he wants to do things with elves and wolves. Imagine if you had a land that said, if you control if your commander has attacked, tap this land, draw a card. You'd play it, wouldn't you? Basically, that's what Mutavault says. Mutavault says, if Voya has attacked, tap it, add 1 to your mana pool, spend that 1, make it a 2/2 creature with all creature types, and draw a card. Actually, I'd have to do it before he attacks. So, declare combat, activate Mutavault, even if it's tapped as a 2/2 creature and I can't use it, when I attack with Voya, because it's now a wolf, I will draw a card. Path of Ancestry. It works with a few cards in this deck, and I'll show you that in a little while. So it's a command tower that comes into play tapped. That's the way I've learned to look at it. So if I add a mana and cast a wolf, I get to scry 1. Reliquary Tower. Maybe overdrawing enough cards to this. Maybe I'll take it out. I don't know. I'm going to experiment with it. Rootbound Crag. The red-green checkland. Stomping Ground. So I said I'm not taking any, raiding any active decks. I did raid my Modern collection for this. It was not in a deck, so I'm taking it. Sun Petal Grove comes into play tapped unless I have Forest or Plains. Temple Garden, same thing, came out of my Modern Reserve collection. So since it was not in an active deck, I felt okay about doing it. Wirewood Lodge, green, tap, untap target elf. That's what it's here for. Guy's Cradle. Well, I have one. I want to play it. I had a discussion last night at Chulane with one of the lads there, and we got to talking about reserved list. How people now are. Let me take a drink. I'm getting dry. So one of the big questions people are having about the reserved list is, should they start engaging in a bit of fear of missing out, panic, and buy up the reserved list cards they want now? Excuse me, for fear that they will go up in price a lot in the near future. And he said, looking at the trends, and he works at one of the biggest shops in Europe, Chulane. He's got access to a lot of data. He's able to forecast the price structure pretty reliably pretty well. And in his opinion, what's happening, what he's seeing, is that yes, reserve list cards have started to creep up a little bit, but most of the players today don't know about them or care about them or see them. Most players today, so if they got involved in the game, say 2-3 years ago, they started with, just before Lord of the Rings. Maybe they picked up a Lord of the Rings commander deck, maybe they picked up a Warhammer commander deck, maybe they're playing standard. They don't see reserve list cards of the people they play, because if their peers also but cards from the same era, they won't have any reserve list cards. They won't have a Cradle. They won't have a Yavimaya Hollow. They won't have anything like that. So they don't have the pressure to buy one. And a lot of them look at the price tag of some of the more expensive reserve list cards, even the €50 and up. And I've seen this. I've seen this when I recommended to one of the lads I play with, that started a few years ago, that he get a Voja Stronghold for his deck. And when I explained it and showed him my copy, he thought, wow, that's really cool. I should get one. How much is it? And I said, €50. And he said, €50? That's a lot of money. I didn't think of it that way. So for him, spending €50 on a card guaranteed not to be reprinted, because Wizards burn themselves pretty badly with the M30, he's not going to go after it. And he's speaking to this lad, Chulane Retige, he's far from the only one. So these people are not chasing reserve list cards. Anybody who's 25, 30, even 35, getting into the game, even in the last 5-10 years, they have no nostalgic memories the way I do for cards that are 20 years old. So somebody is 35. 20 years ago, they were 15. So maybe they were playing then. Probably not, because of the conditions in this country at the time. So they didn't develop any fondness, any good memories of reserve list cards. So they're not chasing it for the feelings. They're not, and they're avoiding it for the money. And the reason I bring this up is, yes, this is a powerful card in this deck, but I want to play it because I have it. And my friends, the lads I play with, they don't have such things, and sometimes it creates a bit of tension depending what it is. Although, to be honest, the genie got more upset over a Seedborn Muse than he ever has over a Gaia's Cradle, a Time Spiral, a Treachery, anything like that I played. He just takes it. He just rolls with it. But when I played the Seedborn Muse as Kenrith, that got him. He did not like that at all. So it depends on the card. So in summary, before as I wind up to continue, I don't think reserve list cards, you need to go chasing them now. They will slowly creep up in price, but they're starting to hit a wall. They're starting to hit a wall of too expensive for new players. The new players' decks are good enough, they don't really see the need for them, and they don't have the nostalgia for them. So it'll be interesting to see if that really pans out the way he predicts. Anyway, you have my Cradle of Growth. So this is here for Eladamri, Lord of Leaves. He gives all my other elves Forest Walk, so I need to give my opponents Forest. Because I'm a nice guy, I'll give them a Forest. Speaking reserve list, you have my Hollow. Great if you can get one. Green, tap, regenerate target creature, and the price is still pretty low compared to what it was 2-3 years ago. About 2 years ago, I sold a near mint one for €150, and then about a year later, I bought a near mint one from my LGS for about €90. So, and the price has not really recovered from there. Let me just show you my basics, and then I'll get to the meat of the deck. So the basics I chose are these Commander 2016 basics by Rebecca Gay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Forest. And I'm only running 3 mountains and 3 plains. I have a feeling that might be enough, but with the dual lands that I have, and with the elves that I have, I'm thinking maybe I'll get away with it, so I'll try it. Also, if you had paid attention, you would notice that when I showed you the mana base, I have no fetch lands. I do not have any extra fetch lands for Naya, so therefore this deck does not have Arid Mesa, Windswept Heath, doesn't have any of the 3 on-color Naya fetch lands. So Gross and Verge will have to make do. Alright, so meat of the deck. Crimson Memorial. Of course it costs 7. Turn this a bit. There we go. Put Voya there so you can see him. Good wolf. Let's bring this up a bit. Yeah, there we go. Good little wolf. Alright. Crimson Memorial. 7 mana cost artifact. Kind of heavy, but creatures that control get flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black, protection from red. Mainly it's in here for the haste. I need some haste enablers with my vision of the deck. So I've got a Crimson Memorial. Scroll Rack. Don't know if I need it. Probably be one of the cards I end up taking out. 2, 1 tap. Choose any number of cards in your hand. Put them over here. Choose an equal number of cards, top your library, put them in your hand, put the cards over here on top of your library in any order. Blah, 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 blah. Sword of the Animist. I was surprised. This is so cheap when I went to go buy one. I think I recall this being at €20 for the foil a year or so ago. Maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. Maybe it was never that much. But I bought this one for less than €10. Foil from Origins, the original set. I thought, wow, great, cool. So equip creature gets +1/+1. Whenever it attacks, I may search for a basic land card, throw it in the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Alright, Beast Whisperer. So I'm still going with the plan of trying to get a learn out and casting creatures for free in order to build up my army. I don't have as many draw effects. Voya is not Chulane. He's not going to enable that broken idea that I had. But I'm still going to try a lighter version of it. So Beast Whisperer, whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. For 2 colorless, 2 green, and he's a 2/3 elf druid. Birchlow Rangers. 1 green, 1/1 elf. Tap 2 and tapped elves you control. Add 1 mana of any color to mana pool. Yes, this is a diminishing return, but he doesn't have the tap symbol. So say turn 1, if I can somehow get 2 green mana, which probably won't be able to, so turn 2, if I have 2 elves in play, I can tap those 2 elves as if they didn't have summoning sickness for 1 mana of any color. Copperhorn Scout, whenever she attacks, I tap every creature I control. Except her. Every other creature. So she lets me reuse guys like him. Elvish Druid. Other elves get +1/+1. Add green for each elf I control. Squish that down. Elvish Champion. I love that art. That just looks cool. So other elves get +1/+1 Force Walk. Kind of like the Arch Druid, but instead of mana, I'm giving them Forest Walk. So that's another reason to have the Cradle of Growth. Elvish Harbinger. I was pretty happy to get a foil one of these. Cost a bit more than I expected, but still happy to get it. So she comes into play. I go find my Beast Whisperer, put it on top of my library, figure out how to draw it, play it. But also afterwards she can add 1 mana of any color to my mana pool. Elvish Mystic. Basically Llanowar Elves. Elvish Visionary. She comes into play, and I get to draw a card. Essence Warden. So whenever another creature comes to play, anywhere, anytime, if she's in play, I get life. Probably don't need her. Probably will end up taking her out. You'll see why. Fyndhorn Elves. Just another variation of Llanowar Elves. Green for a 1/1 elf druid that I can tap for mana. Heart Warden. So add 1 green to your mana pool, or sack him to draw a card. So if I put something on top of my library with Elvish Harbinger, and he's in play, I can sack him to get it now. Heritage Druid. I love this art. I love Larry McDougall's art. Wizards, if you're listening, if you're trying to figure out how to get enfranchised players like myself to buy your new stuff, bring back artists we love. So, sure enough, Larry McDougall is probably not what you're looking for Thunder Junction. He'd be good for Bloom Barrow, wouldn't he? Bring back Larry McDougall, bring back the Foglios, bring back Amy Weber. Bring back Omar Ryan. I know Omar did some things for Wilds of Eldraine, but I want to see more from him. I want to see more from Larry McDougall. Look at that. That's just... I just love it. It just makes me happy to see it. Prairie's perfect. Other elves I control get +1/+1, and I can make elf tokens. All for the low, low price of 2 colorless and 1 green. Fauna Shaman. Survival of the fittest on legs. 1 green tap, throw away a creature card, search your library for creature card, show it to everybody, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Leaf Crown Visionary. A lot of elves in this deck, and so she's going to be a lot lighter than she was before when it was all elves. But I still think she'll do good. So 2 green for a 1/1. Other elves you control get +1/+1. And whenever I cast an elf spell, I may pay green. Which, whenever I have it, I will. If I do, I draw a card. Which is kind of what I want. There he is. The original Llanowar Elves. Well, not the original, that would be Alpha. I definitely do not want to spend the money for an Alpha Llanowar Elves, or a Beta. Betas are expensive too. So, I've got this revised one. This is what I remember. This is when I started with the game in revised. Priest of Titania. 1 colorless, 1 green. Tap, add 1 green to your mana pool for each elf in play. Played as a mana source. That used to mean something. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Nomade Shepherd. Tap 4 and tap creature control. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. And it doesn't matter if the creatures have summoning sickness or not. As long as I play her and I have 3 other creatures, or just have 4 of the creatures sitting around doing nothing, I can tap them to activate her ability and blow something up. Excuse me. Quarian Ranger. Turn forest to control to its owner's hand. Untap Elvish Archdruid. Untap Priest of Titania. Untap something. Do something. Make it work. Reclamation Sage. She shows up, blows something up. I don't like the original at all. The original art, the set art, it just never did anything for me. But when I saw this promo, that became my Reclamation Sage. So all of my decks that have a Reclamation Sage, this is the art, because they haven't printed anything as good as this, or better, in my opinion. I just like her. I don't like the Reclamation Sage from Lord of the Rings either. I play it, but I don't like it because I don't think the art fits the concept of the card. Seeker of Skybreak. 2 for a 2/1 sexy elf that can untap a creature. 7th edition, baby. Silver Ranger, when she shows up, I go find a basic land, show it to everybody, put it in my hand, and then shuffle. Taunting Elf. Alright, so I'm going to be attacking. If I don't want anything blocked, I can have him run interference. So he can run out there and everything has to go over to him. He is it. All creatures able to block Taunting Elf must do so. Of course, I better have some way to regenerate his ass or he's going to die. Well Wisher. I gain 1 life for each other elf on the battlefield, no matter who controls it. I didn't like the original Well Wisher. I forget what set she's from. But when this came out, I thought, yeah, okay, that's what I'm going for. That's a cool Well Wisher. I don't know if she's been reprinted in a foil treatment, though. I need to find out. Because it would be cool. I bet this yellow, this glow, I bet that's beautiful in foil. Depending on how they do it. If they do that stupid surge foil, or that shitty FTV plastic veneer foil, yeah, that wouldn't be so good. Wirewood Channeler, one of my more expensive elves. As you can see, I try to keep everything below 3 or less because of Allurin. Well, he's one of the ones that are above 4, so Allurin can't bring him down. So 3 and a green for a 2/2 elf. Tap at X mana of any one color to your mana pool, where X is the number of elves in play. In play, not just on my side, not elves I control, elves in play. So if anybody else has elves, I can get mana off it with this dude. I think Priest of Titania says that too, doesn't she? Probably. I'm not going to go back and look. I'm already at 24 minutes, and I'm barely halfway through the deck. Eladamri, Lord of Leaves. Yeah, some legend. He's now an elf. They've put some errata, but they can't reprint him with the errata because he's reserve list. So he is now an elf creature, legendary elf. So all other elves gain Forest Walk is what he says. And other elves cannot be the target of... Other elves gain Shroud. Other elves are shrouded. So I can't untap them with Korean Ranger. I can't regenerate them with Yavimaya Hollow. But he's a duplicate way of giving everything, all the elves, Forest Walk. And he's just cool, isn't he? Run Churona. I don't know if he did any other cards. I cannot recall anything else he did. But I love the different art styles they used to use. I like it when they do that now with like the aforementioned Omar Ray and Larry McDougall. I really enjoy that. Veronique Mignat when she does lands. So Azuri, Renegade Leader. My overrun on legs. So that's the end of the elves. There's currently 27 elves in the deck, but I need to take some out, and I'll show you why. I also decided to put some non-elf, non-wolf creatures that just have effects that I think I will want in the game. So first up is Bessandra, Battle Seraph. 5 for a 4/4 Flying Angel. Players cannot cast spells during combat. Well, I don't have a lot of combat tricks in this deck, so it doesn't hurt me. But it prevents my wreckage from being settled. Prevents, I don't know, what else do people play during combat? An overloaded Cyclonic Rift, Swords to Plowshares. Once I declare my combat step, Bessandra says, "Alright, it's creatures only, bitches." Elish Norn. Yeah, 7 mana. That's a lot, but I've got a way of cheating her out. So, she comes down, Vigilance. Other creatures I control get +2/+2. Creatures my opponents control get -2/-2. So she alters the board state, the power structure. Is not on theme, is not a wolf, is not an elf. But if I had the card, and if you saw what I've presented already, you should have seen a card that Voya really wants. There is a card Voya really wants, and I'll say it at the end so you can think about it. But the only copy I have is already in Azami. Azami has it, and as I said, I'm not raiding any active decks. But Voya really wants that card because it would make the deck sick. Alright, now Legado of the Hunt. Okay, I'm going to have big creatures. When I attack with Voya, he's going to make everything bigger, so I need to get the damage through. They need to have trample. This is my way of giving everything else trample. Plus, she'll probably be active pretty soon with all the damn elves I've got. And this target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I've never used it. It's there. It's nice, I guess. Nothing I need. Sun Titan! Yeah, you see this in almost every deck I play with white. So, he really isn't as common as you might think, though. Edgar does not have a Sun Titan because he's not a vampire. Ikra Shidiki and Sidar Kondo do not have one because his power and toughness are equal. And everything in that deck, short of 3 Soul Sisters, the toughness is higher than the power as a part of the strategy of the deck. Sharum lacks a Sun Titan. Soul Titan, that would be cool. So Sharum lacks a Sun Titan because he's not an artifact. Doesn't really care about artifacts. And effectively Sharum herself in the command zone is the Sun Titan for my artifact deck. Alright, I'm at 30 minutes. This camera's going to shut off, so let me go to part